Hi and welcome. My name is Isam. I'm the lead design architect at ISD Architects. If you have been in the building process, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner or a developer or a builder, have you ever felt that you've done so many changes in the design? Or have you ever thought that the scope of work wasn't defined well? Or maybe you have felt that your layout wasn't defined, your program layout wasn't defined, or your space layout wasn't defined, or it wasn't optimized in terms of space or in terms of percentage. Then if you have felt all of these, then this video is going to help you overcome these three most costly mistakes your architect or your designers could make at the very beginning. We call that beginning is the architectural programming phase. If you look at this picture, it's going to show you an archaeological site. This site is actually for probably a couple thousand years old building. Now the archaeologists, when they look at the layout of this archaeology or this piece of building, ancient building, then what do they see? Actually, they see besides the foundation wall or the basement wall or whatever of the walls are left with, they in fact look at a program. They look at spaces and layouts and facilities and functions that was common or that building was revolved or was built around. So programming is quite important. It shows the functionality of the building. It fulfills the building for it fulfills the reason why the building was built in the first place. This graph shows you two curves and they intersect in the middle. The red graph is called the cost of change and the blue graph is called the opportunity for influence, the achievement of the building, the impact of the design on the building. So as you can see, they intersect at the design development stage. So in architecture or the building process, we have planning and programming, we have schematic design, as you can see, we have design development, we have construction documents, and we have construction where the building is built. So at the beginning, the cost of changes are very minimal. You can do whatever you like to your design without incurring too much cost. The opportunity, however, is high. So the more time passes into schematic design, the cost of change would become more costly, and also the opportunity for influence declines. This is what we call the rapidly declining influence. So from this point on, change becomes much more expensive than the influence, than the impact that this change will have on the functionality of the building, on the economics of the buildings, and on the aesthetics of the buildings. So at this point, which is the design development, the more you do changes, less you have opportunity of influence until you reach the construction, which is completely diminished, while any change would have to require a very, very costly decision that the benefit would be almost negligible or without any impact. I'm going to give you three photographs that shows what these three most costly mistakes are. So this is hint number one. This is a hint image. As you can see, people getting together with a lecturer. Hint number two is someone looking at a huge board full of information. hint number 3 is a layout with some statistics and shaded areas. So what are these 3 and why do I call them hints? Now let's go back to number 1. Here we see the number 1 mistake that should be avoided at all costs. It is that there is no pre-design meeting with all people involved in the design decision making. Now, these people, of course, would include the owner, the contractor, the tenants or the occupants, the architect, the consultants, and any other party that will have an impact on the design. The sooner the meeting, the better the result. And the graph that I showed you of diminishing value or diminishing influence would be applied. The more you discuss the program, the more you discuss this strategy, the more you discuss the owner's goal of this building, any issues pertaining to the space layout, any issues pertaining to the cost, any issues pertaining to the functionality of the spaces, issues like flexibility or gross floor area or net areas would be discussed thoroughly. What type of construction, what type of budget, what are the options, what is the relationship between the building and the environment? Are you using passive techniques? Are you using positive techniques or mechanical systems that require a lot of energy? Or you're using the sun? What type of orientation? What kind of visual attraction you want to include? What is your core identity? Or if you're a corporate, what is your core corporate identity for the building? What do you want to say to the society? Do you want to blend with nature? Do you want to stand out? All these issues must be set out at the very beginning of any project. Any neglect of these issues or these meetings will have a very serious consequences on the construction of the building. Now I'm talking as if the building costs millions and millions of dollars, but this principle actually applies even to the smallest of additions, to small buildings, to homes, or to the construction of homes. In this case, it won't be as many people. It will be the homeowner and the architect who knows more about the house design and the systems of the house design, like the structural system, the mechanical system, the green principles of designing a very economic home, and so on and so forth. This meeting is invaluable for the owner to have and to persist upon in order to get a clear agenda of the design, and at this stage we call that programming. The second most costly mistake your architect could make at the programming phase is that he does no research or he does no data collection. This is very dangerous. If the architect thinks that he knows about a certain subject and he doesn't go and dig deep into that subject, analyze the information, go to the site, check out the green areas, the views, the underground water, the visibility, the accessibility of the site. If he goes ahead and check out about your facility, whether it's an industrial building or an office building, if he doesn't connect the dots, if he doesn't know about the number of car parking required for an office building or a restaurant in a strip plaza, if he doesn't know that the fire route should be at this width and it should not be at this location, for example, or can be breached within the site. All of this, hundreds upon hundreds of information, has to be known, recorded or documented, photographs taken. Every nuance of the site should be analyzed in order for that decision to be blended well at the very beginning of the design process. The third costly mistake at the programming phase is that the design has no strategy for optimization, or in other words, there is no efficiency strategy. And this means that your design, your footprint on the site, should be studied in such a way that we minimize the wasted areas. We minimize the areas that do not really need or require to be there. For example, circulation should be at the minimum. The layout of furniture, the layout of spaces, the cores of the building, meaning the fire exits, the entrances, the lobbies, all the common areas like the public washrooms, all of these should be calculated in such a way that you persist from your designer or architect that he or she would know the percentage of that efficiency. Now, I'm not going to go into the detail about how to calculate the percentage of efficiency, but it has a formula, and this formula should be applied, at least should be considered at the very beginning of the project. This is a case study of an office building that we did, and these 3 points exemplify the 3 mistakes that we want here to avoid. So the pre-design meeting, as I said before, it included my meeting with the owners, with the city officials or planners. There was a pre-consultation meeting with the city. There was a meeting with the fire department. There was a meeting with the tenants. There was a meeting with my mechanical and structural engineers. And we talked and discussed and analyzed at the very beginning of the process, including laying out the program, the facility programming, and the structural system, and of course the budget, the duration of construction, the duration of the design process, the possibilities to apply for minor variances, and so on and so forth. The data collection was also done, which is the mistake number 1 that should be avoided. No data collection. We've gone to the site. We did building typology research. We searched the zoning information, the surrounding buildings, or we call it this context. For example, this is our building here, and these were existing, these pads. This was a new or proposed building, so we took this into consideration in order to forecast what's going to be like when it's built. And then the urban space that you see here was created according to the sun path in order not to have too much shading, and in order also to provide some nice landscaping in front of this building. The possible mistake number 3 is the lack of efficiency and optimization of design, including energy, the circulation areas, the maximum parking, services location, orientation, amount of glazing, and so on and so forth. So if you want help from us, and if you want us to assess if we can help you with a pre-design phase of your project, we highly recommend that you apply to book a free strategy session with the architect. A strategy session gives you an overview of the whole process, a $10,000 value offered for free today. So for a limited time, we're offering to give a free consultation session with an experienced architect. In order to book today, you can click on the link that you see in the blue, and that link will take you to our website, where you can click on the orange button and get in the process of applying to book a free strategy session. Now, what do I mean by the strategy session? It's a 30 minutes to 45 minutes of time we discuss about your projects, and we design a strategy. That's not programming, because programming would be a paid for fee. This is a free consultation where we draw the bigger picture, where to start, which areas you have to pay attention to, and what is your achievable goal. Because some people would dream of things that are not practical or could be reached, but with a highly cost associated with it. So we draw a map for you, a roadmap, if you will, that will help you look at the whole process in a much clearer way. That is a very valuable, I can guarantee that. So in order to get into the process, you can visit our website at isdarchitects.com, www.isdarchitects.com, and press on that orange button that you see here with the red arrow, and then that will take you into a questionnaire where it will lead up to booking an appointment with the architect. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you on the other end.